Good news. We're sponsored. The sponsor of today's video is OG Racing. They supplied me with the gloves that we're going to be reviewing today. So if you're interested after the review, feel free to click the link in the description below so you guys can pick up yourselves a pair. So just a little bit of an update. I was looking for gloves because I was doing the 24 hours of Daytona and I needed a new pair of gloves to actually race in because my current ones have a bunch of holes in them. Look at these bad boys. Holes in here. There's a hole forming right here actually because I don't need these anymore. Look at that, just disgusting. Old, cheap, I won't be buying these again. So I decided to reach out to OG Racing and to my surprise, they actually said, yeah, okay, sure. Here's a pair of gloves, why not try these out? And so today's pair of gloves are actually not real racing gloves. You cannot take these out on a track, but these gloves are actually dedicated sim racing gloves. Now we will get more into what that means shortly, but I'd like to just display that these bad boys come in a little carrying case. If you do any sort of mobile sim racing events, you don't have to like stuff these into your bag like I did with my old gloves here. They got this little nifty guy right here. But anyways, these guys are dedicated sim racing gloves. Now I'm going to put a picture up on screen, both of these, and you can see the difference in material, in size, and in shape that these gloves have versus real racing gloves that you use for a real racing car. Now, if you're not interested in looking through the whole video but still want to know whether or not these gloves are worth it, the answer is of course, yes, they really are. I had the chance to race the full 24-hour race in these gloves, and I'm very happy that I was able to actually use these instead of regular racing gloves for that entire 24 hours. But with that said, this also means that I have a decent amount of experience, or at least drive time, using these gloves, so I think I'm more than qualified to give a review. So starting off with the things I absolutely love about these gloves, one major difference between these sim racing gloves versus the FIA approved racing glove is that you'll notice there's no flame retardant material here. There's nothing to keep it from lighting up on fire or to keep your hand from lighting up on fire. Now, what that allows manufacturers like Sparco to do is to create ventilated uppers on the top of these gloves. And I know that I'm not the only one who races endurance races or just sim racing in general, where after you're done of a 2 or 3 hour, 4 hour session, your hands are super sweaty. And it's like, at the end of that, I don't want my hands smelling like a sweaty gym sock. So these really help in keeping your hands cool. And that is only possible with the fact that these are dedicated sim racing gloves and they don't have to abide by any sort of FIA regulations in terms of construction and materials used. Another thing you'll notice about these, look how thin the fabric is. And that goes back to the fact that these aren't made for real racing. They were able to get these guys to be super light and super thin, so I have a lot of dexterity in my fingers, and this helps out a lot when I'm racing and I need to press any button on the steering wheel. So I don't know about you, but this is the first time I've actually ever seen this feature in gloves. These have a padded feature on them, and for me, a person who sort of death grips the wheel, or even when you're doing endurance races, a lot of the times we need to maybe release our grip, or we may get aching in the inner palm or the outer palm area, and these have padding right along there. So while you do still sort of get the palm achiness after a few hours, it takes a while to get to the same amount of achiness and sort of painfulness that you would have had with regular racing gloves that don't actually have padding in those areas to begin with. And lastly, the amount of grip on these, I was actually very surprised to see. Now, if you look at the pattern, there isn't the same amount of rubber that you may see on karting or racing gloves, but they still did a really good job in gripping the wheel. I didn't notice a difference between my actual, like my real life racing gloves versus the sim racing gloves when it came to grip. Another small feature here. Look at this. They have removable thumbs and stuff so that you can use your keyboards and mice and like cell phones while you're waiting or setting up your station. So like me, for instance, I have a trackpad keyboard, and I know many drivers who have a sim rig have this exact model keyboard. And so when you're wearing these, you can use this with it, and my computer just turned on just but you see it works. Versus with these, I have to take these off constantly in order to use my phone or my keyboard whenever I'm racing. And it gets very irritating because as a streamer and a sim racer, you're doing this, you know, up to 10 times a night. And so it's very good to just have a feature where all I need to do is just do this. And look at this, we're back to battle mode here. Super easy. And I know some of you are going to be a little bit high strung and sort of purist about the sim racing experience and the with gloves or with VR sim racing gloves. But I will say this, as a man who likes to keep racing as pure as possible, who wants the most immersive experience, if we're really being serious, you don't notice a difference with these versus this in terms of immersion, in terms of usability. But I will say that there's a reason that Sparco decided to make sim racing gloves and not just sell only real life racing gloves. These have features that you're not going to see with real life racing gloves, which is why they're not expensive. If you have the chance, I would try these out. Try them out for yourself, see if you like them. So again, thank you so much to OG Racing for lending me these. Honestly, it's surreal. I've never been sponsored before, so this is a very big blessing. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're interested in these, the link is in the description below. The prices are cheaper than Amazon. I freaking promise you. There's no point in looking. Oh, you can look, but they're cheaper. They're cheaper than Amazon. I've tried. It's like 8 o'clock. I'm so glad I did this. Oh my God, I was not gonna do this video today. Lord. Awesome. Good job, team.